The headline of the day is all about Rick Santorum. He was expected maybe to put in a strong performance in the trio of primaries yesterday, but not quite as strong as he did. And Patrick, what are the real implications of his big wins?
I don't hear him. I don't know if JR.
He's going to pick up the phone. Okay.
Can I give you the implication?
No.
You don't want to. You don't want to hear my implication.
Okay, Patrick, go ahead.
I mean, clearly this was a big blow for Mitt Romney. Wasn't expected to win all three, but I don't think anyone saw that he was going to lose Colorado, and I don't think anyone saw that he was going to lose Missouri and Minnesota by the margins that he did. He's got a problem both in the Midwest and with these kind of core conservative activists who make up the bulk of the electorate in all three elections. And this was, no delegates, as the Romney campaign has reminded us repeatedly, no delegates will be a person through this process. But
right.
It's not a headline that they wanted moving forward, coming out of back-to-back wins in Florida and Nevada where there was aura of inevitability.
Does this mean sorry, Patrick, does this mean a Romney-Santorum ticket?
I think we're way too early for that. I think the one thing that this ensures is that this process will take a lot of time to play out now. We get into March and we get into proportional balloting, so that means that the top 2 and 3 finishers are probably going to get a split of the delegates from all these states. Provided Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich and Ron Paul have the money to keep going the distance up against Mitt Romney, I think it's going to be a really long race because they can now justify their involvement in this process. I mean, Rick Santorum went from total back-of-the-pack candidate to surprising everybody in Iowa, then going a month without winning anything and really kind of fading into obscurity again. And then now he's got more wins than anybody else in the field. So,
right.
He probably has the strongest case of anybody to make for his candidacy, particularly when you look at how he's done in these battleground states where Obama is going to need to hold strong in November.
I think it shows the tenacity of the core, what I call social conservatives. Mm-hmm. Santorum is not like a Ron Paul libertarian. He is kind of an old line, pro-life, socially conservative person, and that is an important part of the Republican base.
And this is
basically them, because you're not going to get a lot of, given that the votes here were not for delegates. Mm-hmm. These are really not that meaningful in terms of the delegate count. Mm-hmm. I think Florida vote is much more instructive from a national perspective, but it still shows that the social conservatives are not going to go down without a big fight here.
Especially in Colorado. Patrick, last comment, Colorado seemed to be the biggest surprise, especially given that Mitt Romney had won that state 4 years ago.
Yeah, Colorado was a big surprise just because we all thought that Mitt Romney was very strong there. We had done a couple articles on this. His team, he has got a bunch of senior strategists who are from Colorado and that they had put a lot of time and resources in to build turnout. That was a big blow. I also think Missouri was actually the biggest surprise. You had actually, 250,000 people went to vote. They had not been affected by the ads that have been run in a lot of these primary states, and they chose one resoundingly that was not Mitt Romney. Now, turnout was about a third of what it was in 2008. But if you're looking for kind of this, virgin electorate that had not been affected by the mail and the back and forth between the candidates, and you see where they went with Santorum, and that's a big blow for Mitt Romney at this point.
Yeah, although that low turnout figure is interesting. Let's just quickly hear a snippet of what Rick Santorum had to say to his base, to these social conservatives.
This is not just a victory for us, but tonight was a victory for the voices of our party, conservatives and Tea Party people, who are out there every single day in the vineyards building the conservative movement in this country, building the base of the Republican Party, and building a voice for freedom in this land. Thank you.
In the vineyards.
They're in the vineyards. Yeah, I got issues with Santorum. But not that I want to get too far into this, but my thing is, I don't think he's electable on a national stage, and I think he's appealing to a relatively narrow segment
Patrick,
of the Republican base.
That's been the conventional wisdom. So I guess the question again is what are the implications of this? Does it mean that some overtures have to be made to Santorum? Does he somehow hold some power over this process, even if he can't necessarily emerge as the candidate?
Absolutely, no. He's going to be a force. It depends. I mean, we'll see how this thing plays out. I think the general election debate, we're going to get a really good chance to see who's the best candidate for a general election on March 6th. That's Super Tuesday. A lot of states are going to be deciding. It's a demographically and geographically diverse cross-section of the country. Romney obviously has the most money. He's also been able to do little things like go on stage and deliver a fairly succinct speech that has a beginning, middle, and end. That's something that Santorum has shown, and he's not been capable of so far. So I think that's going to be a big challenge for him. But Rick Santorum is clearly to a very powerful segment of the electorate, and whoever the nominee is, whether that be Rick Santorum or Mitt Romney, they're going to need them in the fold moving into November.
Yeah.
So he has definitely, I think, for a lot of us, punched above his weight class, and has now made himself a very viable part of the conversation in terms of who the Republican presidential candidate will be.